Worry lines can run deep. With increasing commodity prices, higher price volatility, and rising input costs, America's farmers rely on crop insurance to protect their crops and livestock. Crop insurance, providing peace of mind now and for the next generation of agriculture.
Congressman Hultgren, welcome.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
Why did you decide to run for Congress?
Well, big reason was I just feel like the country was heading in the wrong direction. I felt like Washington was broken, and I really felt like it was my responsibility as a citizen of this great nation to be fighting for our future, for our kids and our grandkids.
This certainly was not your first run for elected office. You have quite an extensive background in state government. But what have you learned about this process out here that has anything surprised you?
Well, it's just the vastness of bureaucracy is still amazing to me. You stand on Capitol Hill and you look in every single direction, and as far as the eye can see, it's federal government. So it's challenging to make changes, and yet I'm absolutely convinced that one person can make a change, and especially a lot of one person's coming together can make a change. We see that in some of the work I serve on the Agriculture Committee, and we've had an opportunity to go and talk to some of our regulators to try and rein in out-of-control regulation, out-of-control federal government. So we're making an impact, but there's so much more work that we need to be doing.
The debt and deficit situation, you talk to people and they say, well, that's why we elected people like you, is to come up here and change the way the federal government spends money, cut up the credit cards. How would you judge the amount of success the new majority has had in that vein to date?
Well, I think it's been good. It's never enough. I wish it was more. I wish it was faster. But it is, again, getting back to the size of bureaucracy, it is a challenge to get things moving quickly. So we are just going to continue, and it's step by step by step by step that we get the nation back on track. It's this idea of a huge ship, a huge battleship, and you don't turn that on a dime. You change course, and that is what we're doing. We have changed course already. Now we've got so much more that we need to be doing, and we need to get this economy growing again. And as we make good decisions of limiting the size of federal government, limiting the amount of regulation on our farmers and our businesses, on families, and as we start bringing some confidence back that we're going to be doing the right thing and not punishing productivity, but encouraging productivity, this economy is going to start growing again, and good things are going to happen. So I think we have started well. We need to finish well and just keep up the job.
You're on the Agriculture Committee.
I am.
What's been your take or interpretation of your time on that committee so far?
Well, it's been very good. I've really enjoyed my work there. It's been surprising. Really the majority of the time that we've spent there in my work has been dealing with a financial services bill, the Dodd-Frank bill, and all of the regulation that comes into the agriculture community from the Dodd-Frank bill. And so it's a little bit surprising, and again, you just see how these pieces of legislation that pass rush through with these deadlines that are set, with a huge amount of authority and ability for regulators to be able to kind of do whatever they want to do. It's frightening, and it's up to us as members of Congress, and specifically members of the Ag Committee, to start to rein that in. And so we've been doing that work. But it really has been a privilege to serve on the Agriculture Committee and to serve with the farmers in my district.
You serve on the Agriculture subcommittee that will at least have the first shot at writing the safety net in the 2012 Farm Bill. That's an important position for you to be in for your farm constituents.
Yes, I'm excited about it as well, and we are getting geared up and ramped up. We want to make sure that we're getting information from our farmers of what's important to you. So I want to get that message out as well, that we want to hear from you to be able to best represent you. I grew up in the funeral business. My family owns a funeral home, so I didn't grow up on a farm. So I need to hear from you, though. I want to passionately represent your interests. So it's so important for you to communicate with me, communicate with my office, so I can best represent you as this farm bill moves forward.
Talk about your family life. You have children at home, at least I read your bio. And so many of your colleagues do. Does that present special challenges for people like you who have got young kids? You're a dad still trying to raise kids.
It is a challenge. You know, people talk about the pros and cons of this job. I love the work. I love the idea of being able to represent the people who've sent me here to Washington. The hardest thing is having to be away from my family as much as I need to be away, and yet I see others who make such a great sacrifice. I was visiting with many of our military over in Afghanistan a couple of months ago, and I see the incredible sacrifice that they've made to serve our country and to fight for freedom. And really, my family sees this the same way, that they're sending me off to be fighting for freedom and to be fighting for our future. So it is a sacrifice, but it's an important sacrifice. It's worth it. And we're in it together. We're in it as a family.
All right, tell us something about Randy Hultgren that's not in the official bio.
Oh boy, I'm trying to think. Well, that bio is pretty thorough. I mentioned one of growing up in the funeral home. That had a big impact on me, and love it. It's still a family business, but very interesting. Quick story. When I was growing up, went to my first dance when I was in 7th grade, and wanted to be all dressed up, and tried to get a tie on. Didn't know how to do it, and went and asked my dad if he could help me with my tie, and he struggled with it for a little bit, and finally said, "You know what? Lay down." So I laid down on the couch. Then he was able to tie it right away. Oh. So some of the interesting things of being a mortician's kid, but it was a great place to grow up. And my parents were always concerned that friends wouldn't want to come over, and yet friends love being there. And the family business still continues to serve people in our community in one of the most difficult times. And I think even that perspective that my family had is something that I hope to carry on in my public service.
Randy Hultgren represents Illinois' 14th Congressional District. Congressman, thanks again.
Thanks so much. Great to be with you.